Men Who Sleep in Cars by Michael Symmons Roberts.
Upon the Irwell's sun-drenched sylvan banks, a pack of feral whippets stopped to drink. And as they stretched out in the midday burn, a baby in a basket bobbed upstream. A nameless boy god, man-child, found a king. His line of life was rich and deep and long, raised by dogs and honoured by the world. This bold man built a city clad in gold, with mills for palaces and rain for sun. We called it Manchester to honour him. Yeah, right. A town of dives and skags and scroats, birthplace of computers, Marxist votes. If you could conjure a town from its sound, then come here at night as it breaks its bounds, when all the canals have thickened to ink, and each pair of lungs is jugged in drink. Welcome to the northern quarter. Wipe your feet. Now picture this. A man walks down a street. He's 40, 42. He's middle-aged. And here's what he calls home. This metal cage. This transit van is where he'll spend the night. Below the radar, out of mind and sight. Mouth full of brick dust, pockets of sand. His conscience is far cleaner than his hands. But even so, the truth is hard to tell. So each night Marley calls from his hotel. The person you have called is on the phone, so kindly leave your message at the tone.
Sorry, love. I'll try again. It's all fine here. I've just checked in. Hotel's great, a different room. My view's across the park this time. I'll ring down and get some tea sent up, and then I'll see what's on TV. World Cup? There's nothing else. I'm sick of it. And no one's kicked a football yet. There's flags on every car outside, flags in windows, national pride. I feel like a heretic. At least I hope it's clean and quick. By next month we'll be sane again. And victory on the streets of Spain, Brazil. Oh, I miss you. You all right? I'll catch you later, babe. Good night.
Hotel. It's not exactly that. More van. But pride can play the devil with a man.
It's not exactly pride, okay? It's just that if she knew, she'd say, have you no pride? Have you no shame? You've only got yourself to blame.
But diesel costs are not so cheap. And home is many miles away. His only chance to make this pay
is sleeping in a transit van.
He's sleeping in a transit van. And so he goes home each weekend, sleeps with his wife.
Plays Let's Pretend. That being a labourer suits me well, that there's loads of work and my diary's full. That the Holiday Inn is my weekday base, that I work so far from home by choice. That I'm raking it in, the man with a plan.
But he sleeps on the street in his dad's old van.
Strangers in the night, exchanging glances, wondering in the
night. It's gone 11. Bars are turning out. Or somehow. Some are opening for the night. Casinos, clubs and massage parlours pulse. The night birds sing. And everybody else, the mums and dads, the kids, the tired, the frail, they up with a lark for work or school, they catch Mancunia's infectious yawn. And this great city holds them in its palm. They snore or pray or worry, spoon and dream. And yes, this city holds them in its palm.
Not me, it doesn't. I'm awake. There's something about these hours I like. When it rains on the sunroof, I lie back and watch the sky turn blurred and black. The stars switched off, the moon dissolved. Small mercies, but we keep ourselves alive with them, despite the dread.
Of spending the night in a tin box bed.
Of spending the night in a tin box bed. The shame and the guilt, and has life come to this? I'm Antonio. Hey girl, come back to my place.
And she might. He's a looker. Half Latin by blood. But his city apartments...
The 10-year-old Ford. Yes, my bachelor pad is a clapped-out old Ford, parked to the back of a trading estate, between World of Valor and a landfill site. By day, I'm a cold caller, telesale slave. By night, I'm a homeless guy, trying to survive. I'm a man in debt, and flats aren't cheap, so the road to dawn looks long and steep. But this time next year, I'll be off the street.
Lift your eyes above the streets and up, along the brick-built mills and all-night shops, across the flyover, past student halls, past tanning salons, whole food cafes, up walls of banks, insurance brokers, fancy bars, until you reach a street where all the cars are spotless, leather-seated, primped and plush, watched over by the dashboard's flash, flash, flash. This is the same town, but set apart. Tobacco tint glass office blocks and smart boutique hotels with temperamental chefs and oriental gardens on the roofs where businessmen blow smoke rings at the moon, and down below among the limousines...
A stylish man sits in his car, dressed in a suit, designer, sure. But take a closer look, you'll see the creases in those sleeves that say...
That man's a fake. Despite the murk, despite the old club tie, his work...
is faking what his work once was. Doing what an alpha does, propping up his broken pride. An exile from the rich club trying to get inside. An exile from the rich club, trying to get inside.
Such is the night for men who sleep in cars. Tip back the seats and pray that no alarms, no fights, no sirens, stag nights, cop cars, dogs will wake you and remind you what you've lost. And so, to keep the city's sounds at bay, the radio becomes your lullaby.
Huge number of teams involved, so let's try and remind ourselves exactly who is playing against who. Brazil, Croatia, Mexico and Cameroon.
At least at night I drop the act. Inside the car, a fact's a fact. I'm 60, hair and teeth me own, ex-cop, ex-businessman, ex-con. Up to my yellow eyes in debt. But I like my scotch and I like a bet. I'm a gambler in life and I'm not bust yet. I'm a gambler in life and I'm not bust yet. So the soundtracks of night are the sports reports. And they almost drown those siren thoughts of the home and the job and friends I had. Of the daughter I loved, who loved her dad. Of the slips I made and the plain bad calls. But I'm an ex-cop and I've still got balls. If the right balls go in the right team's nets and my accumulator bets fit cog to cog like a cash machine, then I'll be a cock of the walk again. Yes, I'll be king of the streets again.
Every World Cup we hear the same phrase, the group of death. So what's the group of death this time? Well, I've always said it's a bit of a meaningless phrase. However...
Half Anglo-Saxon, half Latin blood. So, win or lose, each way's good. If England win, I'm a local lad. If Italy score, I'm the son of me dad. I'm the sum of both my parts. English head, Italian heart. I made mistakes. There was a cost. I know I'm spared. I know I'm blessed.
He knows he's blessed, but he's close to the wind. He supplements his wages from a fund called Stuff I've Nicked from Work. A watch, a colleague's phone, a fountain pen, and each new thing he steals must be his last. Each new thing he steals must be his last.
Oh, Mr. Wise. No, of course. I've just got back into the house. 2 extra shifts. That's fine, no sweat. I'll take all the hours I can get. Oh, God. Oh, no, I hadn't heard. What stuff? His phone. Oh, man, that's hard. If my phone were nicked, I'd be, well, you know. Look, Mr. Wise, I've got to go. My girlfriend's here. It's a special day. Yeah, thanks, our anniversary.
I tried again. Still no reply. Left a message, left a lie. I'm watching a film on pay-per-view. Beer in the minibar, so if you don't mind, then I won't call again. It's late. Let's speak at breakfast time. Full English on a hotel plate. Sets me up for the building site. Good night. Kiss, kiss. Miss you, I said. See you on Friday, weekend in bed. Then I lay in the back of my transit van and wondered if ever a call would come. Not from her, but from them. The foremen and gaffers, the hirers and the firers and casual staffers, converters of mills into shishi apartments, clerks of the City Hall building departments, road menders, wreckers, the maintenance crews, rich kids with the cellar conversions to do. I've put ads in the papers, cards in the shops. I'll lift and I'll graft and I'll work till I drop. I'll lift and I'll graft and I'll work till I drop.
Predict the journeys of these men, their plans, their hopes, their strategies to get them home. They know what all the grim statistics say. You sleep in cars, you rarely find a way back under brick and tile. But still you try. You drive into a city, beg and busk. You move the car each night because the risk of robbery becomes too great to bear. Your car, your only sanctuary. Container toppled from a ship in endless drift across the Arctic oceans. All that's left of home for you, a family sedan. A car without a destination. Sleeping bag as body bag, an ache from spine through legs to feet keeps you awake. Rain on the roof, voice on the radio. Some money man whose talk of macroeconomics falls from fiscal cliffs and settles on a sleeper's dreaming lips.
A rising growth, liquidity.
It sings to him like liturgy. It lands, a snowflake on his tongue, and prompts some half-remembered song.
Strangers in the night, exchanging glances.
Lovers at first sight, no second chances. The hours grow small, and cars head home or out, except those parked in streets and empty lots, a backstreet verge where no patrol cars pass, an unlit transit pulled up on the grass, its engine idling once an hour for heat.
Hot in the sunshine, freezing after dark. I've had sunstroke in Plattfields Park and frostbite in St. Peter's Square, the great northern desert of Manchester.
Eking out the weekly fill of fuel, these men in cars have fitful sleep, not full. They drowse and mutter what they may call prayers.
Forgive my lies and keep me from despair.
Or what they may call gibberish.
One day, oh yes, one day I wish.
Or what you might call self-control.
Do not drink more, McCulloch, no. Enough means sleep, too much means shame. I will not tread that path again. I must not tread that path again.
And on the line now, I've got Antonio. Good evening, Antonio.
Good evening.
And what do you do, Antonio?
You're asking a lot about me. Asking him anymore and we'll have to get married.
Well, I like a lad who doesn't hang about. You cut to the chase, Antonio.
I always do. It's my Italian blood.
And what do you do for a living?
I work in a call centre.
A call centre? God help the boy.
Star question, Antonio?
Yeah, I think I do.
Well, for £100, the question is... Which Frank Sinatra song won 3 Grammys in 1967 and featured the legendary Glenn Campbell on rhythm guitar?
Is it Come Fly?
No!
That's the wrong answer, Antonio.
Strangers in the night, you clueless clown. 100 quid, I'll get my phone.
Will you come fly with me anyway?
Do you fancy yourself a bit, Antonio?
I don't have to.
It's a man in a uniform. Not the police, but a hotel concierge with please. Would you move on?
I've done no crime.
But he's been parked on yellow lines for 12 hours outside one hotel, which might disturb its clientele. So if he doesn't move elsewhere...
I wish to see your manager.
A concierge can spot a tramp, in car or not.
You cannot clamp.
They can. So he accepts defeat and leaves to find another street.
Deliver us from evil, Lord, and on this night may we be spared.
From packs of drunks with spray cans, knives.
From a stutter and stall when you need to drive.
From a leak in the roof where the rain gets in.
From a hot summer night in a sardine tin.
Lulay, lulay, the blossom falls, the blackbird hides, the nightjar calls.
The stars are sharp, the moon is clear. Lulay, lulay, now sleep, my dear.
But these dear men don't sleep. Or not for long. A car alarm 2 streets off, drunken songs of homebound stags and hens and birthday doos. This second part of night, when those who choose to get up in the morning head for trains and bikes and night buses and trams. Loud students kicked out of the clubs and bars, an argument that drifts down from the stars until you realise it's the balcony. 4 stories up from you, a factory converted into bijou New York lofts and some young couple knocking pieces off each other. Argument turns into fight because he's peddling her some shite about it being just a passing pout and nothing she should peck her head about. And when she screams, he throws a glass at her. She chucks a plate which drops onto your car.
What the hell?
But he don't make a fuss. He's uninsured, untaxed, with no address. So when they're walking, men in cars sit tight and count their debts and blessings through the night.
I am the kind of man you trust. You need a volunteer friend? I'm the first. I made some bad calls, placed a few sick bets, so I tried to pay off debts with debts. Sought cards with cards, clear loans with loans, until I lost my nerve, stopped opening the bills. So then I lost my business, lost my wife, my home, my job, my liberty, my life. But never lost this car, this suit, these shoes. If you look the part, then you'll get your dues. If you turn up smart, then there's always hope. So you won't find me on the end of a rope. I've a Paul Smith suit and I drive a Merc. My name's McCulloch. I'm looking for work. I can conjure spreadsheets, run a team, security consultant, cream of the cream. What do? No crap, no spin. Keep the wrong ones out and the right ones in. I keep the wrong ones out and the right ones in.
Change man, eh? I wish it was true. But look in the car and you'll catch a clue. His pockets are stuffed with betting slips, and his diary is full of long odds tips.
Don't judge me yet, just a matter of weeks. A run of bad luck, a few mistakes. But I've run the numbers again and again. I'm getting so close to the perfect 10. A decabomb, parlay, a compound machine. A system so fine-tuned that whichever team comes out with the trophy, my win is secure. I've hedged it and each weighed and checked till I'm sure. Unless it's Honduras or Ecuador. Soon I won't be sleeping in cars anymore. The bookies will cry when they write my check. And then word will get round that McCulloch's back. Just when they thought it had got too tough. They learn that you never write this boy off. They learn that you never write this boy off.
2 miles away from the man in the murk, the car next to Marley's old van goes berserk. A brick through the windscreen and all hell breaks loose. Laid in his van like a man in a hearse, Marley jolts up like he's wired to the mains. He hears the thief running and lies down again.
Sleep as a bird that flies through a house. We long for it to stay with us. We shut the doors, we set the traps. But out it flies with all our hopes.
And so he too lies wide awake, and in that wakeful state takes stock.
I am a lucky, lucky man. I have a wife, I have a home.
You sleep in a van. You live in the dream.
I'd be fine if it weren't for that sense of...
Shame.
I've paid my money. I made my choice. I could have ignored that siren voice that told me to pack in a well-paid job testing blood in a hospital lab. White coat scientist. Graduate. Proud. But the siren voice came long and loud, so I chose what I chose. And I've got no debts. I'm living from hand to mouth, and yet I lie here at night and count my stars. I'm fed, and I'm loved. No wounds, no scars. On weekdays I'm homeless, on weekends I'm poor, but it's just for a bit. While I get off the floor. While I make some plans and decide what I want. While I take back control of my life.
But you can't. Leave Marley to his dreams of taking control. Rise up from these streets lined with brick dust and coal. Float out across mill chimneys, gutters and slates. Out to an unobserved Edgelands estate.
Where I can't sleep a wink. If I close my eyes, all I see is a screenshot that governs my days. A list of numbers, of hits and fails.
The grim litany of telesales.
Is that Mr. Jackson? Good morning, sir. May I ask when you last insured your car? I've got something to say that could change your mind. Well, if that's how you feel, sir, then I should go. But remember, call workers are people too. I bid you good day, sir, and if you have time, there are anger management courses online. It might be an hour well spent in your day. I'm sorry, sir, I don't bend that way.
Antonio, why'd you put yourself through it?
10k of debt is the reason I do it. 10k of debt. But it's heading for 9. 2 years of this, and I've served my time. Debt back to 0. Take on the world. Oh, for once in my life, I could bring home a girl.
I could have been a contender, mate, but the world was against me. He's one of those, with an albatross tail of the body blows that fate has dealt him. Oh, cruel fate. This lad should have won the golden boot.
Picked up at 6 for my skills on the ball. Most gifted newcomer. I won 'em all. Top the academy. Chucked out at 10. We don't think you're quite what we hoped for then. So, sorry, Antonio. All the best. Good luck in the world. You've failed your test.
So how'd you pick up a striker that fails? His parents tried, but he ran off the rails. Got in with the bad lads, crashed and burned. Spent more on drugs than his parents earned.
Oh, off my face and off the map. Took too much and I ended up...
like a wired-up corpse in intensive care.
And my life turned around. Because I met there.
Hello, babe. This is late for you. I left you a message. Left you two. Yeah, sure. Well, it's good to hear your voice. How's work? God, I wish I could see your face. The hotel's nice, yeah, does the trick. What movie? Oh, yeah, some chick flick was all they had. Actors? Not sure. Anyway, past an hour, and now... Yeah, sleepy, I won't talk late. Tomorrow's an early start. It's a new build, suburbs, out of town. I've got the street name written down somewhere. Does it? The room sounds small. Well, it's a single, since that's all. It's noisier than you'd think. The street's outside. Yeah, it's probably the phone, it's amplified. And well, these hotel walls are wafer thin. That's budget chain hotels for you. I'll sleep all right. I miss you too. Good night, my love. It's great to talk. Just until I can get some work, some steady work. A short commute. And you'll see me every night. Are you in bed? I like that thought. What are you wearing? Is it that short?
But then, as he's about to go, he hears a voice he doesn't know.
Who's that? A man's voice. Heard him laugh. No, that isn't good enough. It wasn't you, you didn't cough. The TV? I can't hear it now. Just tell me, is some man with you? Paranoid? No, that's not right. I don't just say goodnight. I know he's there. I know your game, that bastard. I'll swing for him.
Not yet, he won't. He can't get home. No petrol. So he's on his own. Back in the smarter, quieter streets, McCulloch readjusts his seat and turns and turns and turns again to stretch his legs and kill the pain. But nothing will relieve the ache, and so this tired man lies awake, revisiting the sources of his loss.
I guess you'd call it helplessness. A man like me who runs the show. Then suddenly, all that you know, all that you do and think and feel is taken out of your control. And though it's ancient history, I am still in recovery.
1998.
World Cup. The year that Beckham screwed it up. The sending off, the national grief. For me, the end of my belief that God was good, the world benign. My only daughter, love of mine.
His daughter, just 15 years old, the daughter who he'd always told.
Everything will be all right.
Was rushed to hospital that night.
Her blood was wrong, that's all they said.
And in that moment, in his head, the world was remade, hideous, new.
It bore no resemblance to the world I knew.
We slide into the third part of the night, the deepest, darkest, smallest hours when spirits, not the optic kind that rest in rows above the bars of old pubs after hours, when spirits, as in ghosts, come out and walk, I like to think that there's a soul network, that when we die our spirits will slip out between our lips on our last breath, as light, as fine as fibre optics, and as clear, stripped of all uncertainty and fear, a cloud of fireflies dancing in the sky, way too high for street dwellers to see. But listen at the stillest point of dark, and you may hear the sound those fireflies make, as countless tiny wingtips brush and cross, an ecstatic reunion of the lost. And why would you doubt that those radio waves could carry a voice from beyond the grave, a frequency too high for human ears could filter through?
To men who sleep in cars.
And this next one is for a chap called Marley. He's working in Manchester, and he says this song is for his wife and her lover. Clearly a fellow with a sense of humour, Marley. Anyway, Mrs. Marley, if you and your lover are listening, this is an old favourite of mine. Got to number 1.
I remember you there,
and the UK singles
like a
chart,
Christmas tree,
Grammys, but
even more wise on you than me. I heard the doctors tell your mum to ready herself for the loss of her son.
Who are you? And why do you tell me this? You've come from the edge of a place, on the borders of sleep and consciousness.
From the borders of this world and the next. But you didn't die on that first day. And when your parents went away, we talked about dying and living and choice.
If I turn this off, I get rid of your voice.
I hope you heard that in your bed. But I bet you were doing him instead. It's no more than I knew, nor less than I feared. The price I've paid for the nights out here. 4 more hours and another one done. When I sleep in my van, I get up with the sun. Then I'll drive to the truck park, shower and eat. Then spend the whole day with a cap at my feet playing the blues in St. Peter's Square. The same 3 chords on my old guitar. That cap is my pillow, my shelter, my bank. On days when the sky and my heart are blank.
Too tired to think, too fretful to doze, McCulloch lines up his losses in rows.
The respect of my friends, the respect of my wife, the love of my daughter, the love of my life, the pride of a gambler who's beaten the odds, the man with such chutzpah plays with the gods, and he wins. These are the things I have known, I have held. But my mam said, it isn't the end of the world. Yes, she always said, it's not the end of the world.
Say it. Say it.
Amid the strains of Gallic jazz, Marley hears a whispered voice. It calls him to confession now. And so he tells the radio,
Bless me, wireless. I have sinned. I blew the job for which I'd trained. I screwed it up. Now I'm condemned to walk these streets until the end. And all because of that first night. First shift, new boy. I'm working late. I run the last test of the day. A sick girl in for T's and A's. I'd met her in the waiting room. A teenage girl, her dad and mum.
She said to him, Are you the man who'll check my blood? He said,
I am. Tonsils and adenoids, that's all. Barely worth the bother. Routine call. I do the blood count even so. White's a bit high, platelets low. Nothing very odd, but still, I think I'd better check the cells. I make a glass slide, smear and stain onto the microscope, and then I see it. Look, refocus, look. It's classic, clear, textbook. Stained up blue, a blast cell. No, there's no one here to show it to. It can't be that, she's T's and A's. I look again, don't trust my eyes. But there is no mistaking it. Those countless blast cells, lacy, lit, so fragile looking, yet so clear. The cells that spell leukemia.
And 3 floors up, 2 parents wait. Their daughter mourns of her sore throat.
And no one knows apart from me what shattering piece of destiny has landed in their laps tonight. And I can't bear it, try as I might. I cannot bear this piece of news. And every time I shut my eyes, I see her pallid, pleading face. Are you the man who'll check my blood? I am. I was. I will. I did. I was a scientist. This was my patch. Trained never to get attached, to read the bloods, report, and move on. Keep work at work and home at home. But I couldn't get rid of her voice in my head. Are you the man who'll check my blood? She called me back as I walked away. Do you think I'm going to be okay? She said to me as I walked away. Do you think I'm going to be okay? And I said yes. I grabbed my coat, turned out the light, walked out the hospital and on, until I found myself at dawn outside the town in a farmer's ditch. When I saw that cell, it flicked a switch. I couldn't tell them what I knew. That test was the last I could ever do.
We sat on the chairs outside the ward and waited for the routine bloods. They never came. We took her home. Next night, we're back. They do the same. They take her blood, they run the test, and this time it does not get lost. We're led into a private room. The doctor sits with a face like doom, and I just knew as we walked in that nothing would ever be right again.
So they brought me back to the world of light, cleaned me up, set me right. A teenage junkie out of his depth, far from home, close to death. When they brought me back to the world of light, her face in the next bed was my first sight. She was on the ward when they brought me in. So we talked and we laughed. And we said that when we both got out, we'd paint the town. Go out dancing, drink champagne. Only she had no choices, and I had them all. I was a smackhead who'd lost the ball and couldn't get it back. She shone. It's a long time ago, but it's never gone. I can picture her face, I can picture her smile. And she gave me an order: you get well. So I promised. I made her pledge it too. I kept my promise. Still try to. I came off the ward, went back to school. I can't say I've followed every rule, and I can't swear I stayed clean all the while. But I wouldn't be here if not for that girl.
I couldn't go back to the lab. No way. I quit my white coat the following day. I told my wife they'd laid us off for rationalisation of lab staff. But I pray for that girl every night. God knows if she came out all right. If they ran the test again, how fast? How far it had spread since I did my test. But I pray for her family every night. And I wonder if she came out all right.
The day she went, I fell apart. Oh, I could take you back to the start. I remember that day, frame by frame. The smell of the breeze, the weight of the rain, the touch of her cheek as she slipped away. I have every detail of that day. It is a script I know by heart. The day she went, I fell apart.
It was one day after she spoke to me. They drew the curtains. I couldn't see. But I knew. And I heard her father's voice. Is it now?
Is it now?
Has she gone?
Has she gone?
Then I made my choice. I would live for her and me. For two. I wish I'd asked her name.
It's Sarah. And I remember you. The boy with the rings and the bad tattoo. I watched night's taillights chase by day, out along the Mancunian way, and under the arches white van man is drinking his breakfast from a can.
It ain't the full English, I'll tell you that. But it's higher in taste and lower in fat.
Hell's teeth, my back. I'm too old for this game.
Oh, Dad. If there's anyone left to blame, it is not you.
It is not you.
Another night gone, they leave their steel cells, lock them and walk off, remake themselves, as early commuters missing the rush into the cafe with toothpaste and brush. Shave in the toilets, pocket the soap, switch on your phone since you're living in home. And the city stretches, the city yawns, eases her joints and rubs her corns, puts on her makeup, dresses to kill, from spinning fields to Cheetham Hill, from the Curry Mile to the Ship Canal, from the Bridgewater Hall to the Palace Hotel. The first on the streets are the cleaners and cops, newsagents unlock, unshutter their shops, night porters clock off, doors on the trams. But the first on the streets are the ones with no homes. Yes, the first on the streets are the ones with no homes. Aimless and shameless, committed no crime, save eking out coffees 2 hours at a time.
Tap water and espresso, please, my dear. Single, yeah, you know, blood pressure. Can't have too much caffeine. Table, there. I've got a lunchtime meeting, papers to prepare.
Betting slips, more like. Oh, Dad. I miss the times we never had.
I said I would look after you. The one thing I could never do.
While you're on the streets, a car for a bed, I promise I'll watch over you instead. Mancunia's daughter, but always yours, the patron saint of men who sleep in cars. Did you think the city was brick and stone? Did you believe you spent the night alone? Did you think I would leave you without hope? Well, stand in the morning sun, look up.
The narrator was Maxine Peake, Marley was Nick Haverson, Antonio was Robert Haythorne, and McCulloch was Rob Edwards. With special guests Pat Nevin and Stuart McConey. Men Who Sleep in Cars was written by Michael Symmons Roberts and was produced in Salford by Susan Roberts.